Weird.
Our topic is censorship in art, film, music, journalism, and press. This topic affects everyone and is important because censorship tells us what we should or should not see and makes the decisions for us. The purpose of this presentation is to inform the audience about censorship. We want people to be more aware of censorship and to know the history behind it.
The first case of art censorship was in 1508, where Pope Daniel di Volterra censored Michelangelo's The Last Judgment. According to Huffington Post, this painting depicted the saints who were unclothed. The Pope hired someone to paint over Michelangelo's work, giving the saints clothes. In 1990, these clothes were removed once more.
In 2014, a study was conducted and showed that compared to the 5 acts of artistic censorship in 2013, the U.S. had censored 8 works, which was an increase from the years prior. In other countries, artists are abducted, imprisoned, or even killed for controversial work. In 2016, Lafayette had a nude artwork in response to a controversy regarding Nicole Touché's nude self-portrait, which was asked to be taken down from an art gallery. Many people find the nude paintings to be obscure and distasteful. Touché, when placing her work in a gallery, was asked to censor the nude parts of it, and so she did, by gluing out and cutting newspaper bikinis onto her work. Lafayette held a nude art walk later that month to show support for Touché's cause and protest the censorship of her work. The website NCAC.org goes into greater detail about visual art censorship and has articles of recent events regarding art censorship.
In 1915, the Supreme Court holds that movies are not protected by the First Amendment. In 1922, the Motion Picture Producers and Distributors of America was formed to regulate films, but in 1925, the Women's Christian Temperance Union claimed that they weren't doing enough to make sure films were appropriate for the impressionable youth. Many codes were put into place that failed. In 1952, Supreme Court holds that films are a significant medium for the communication of ideas and are entitled to First Amendment protection. Then in 1968, the MPAA institutes a system of ratings based on viewers' ages. Today, producers submit their films to the MPAA, and most theaters and places that sell films only feature films with the MPAA ratings on them.
Censorship of music. In America, the first recorded music censorship was with Memphis Police in 1948. Memphis Police confiscated records from local stores that they considered to be obscene. 1957, the Cardinal of Chicago bans hip-hop from all Catholic schools due to the concern of the beat of the music to have the wrong influence. Also in 1957, it was demanded that jukeboxes be destroyed to prevent black music from corrupting citizens. Miller v. California in 1973, U.S. Supreme Court defines obscenity and holds that it is not protected by the First Amendment. The Super Bowl of 2006, the Rolling Stones was censored live. The Super Bowl performance is bleak because the lyrics were said to be sexually explicit. In 2007, Slayer makes their internet debut on Jimmy Kimmel, and the network edits out around 40% of the lyrics from the band's song Jihad, a song written from the perspective of a terrorist and containing the lyric, "God will give victory to his faithful servants, such when you reach ground zero you will have killed the enemy."
Censorship of journalism and press. During war times, it is not uncommon for the United States to censor the press. In 1971, the New York Times published classified information that was leaked to them about the Vietnam War. The Pentagon attempted to jail and charge these journalists for treason. In a vote 6-3 from the Supreme Court, the New York Times won, but the U.S. doesn't press nearly as much as other countries do. In Hungary, the government is using taxes, fines, and licenses to silence and control what their presses show to the people, allowing government to collect detailed information about all the journalists in the country. Turkey passed an amendment that took control over their internet, giving them the authority to close any websites or the content that they upload. More recently, the government also banned many social media sites as a response to the corruption scandal that was leaked. In Russia, the media is beginning to be reformed in the government's image. Many media outlets were blocked or they saw a change in editor overnight. There have also been foreign-owned publications that were aimed at by other laws because of their stance on independence. China is one of the worst countries with their strict control over news and journalism. From creating its own social media sites as to stop forms of social media from out of the country, to removing videos of its own military parade. China's leader even went so far as to ban Winnie the Pooh because of pictures being spread of him being compared to Pooh. Many keywords would trigger a block or monitor for posts, and if sensitive enough, they would get an official knocking at their door. There's so much more going on as well, but there's just not as much time to cover it all.
The First Amendment protects the rights of freedom of speech, expression, and press against government censorship, but schools in local areas seem to censor art, websites, and music to protect their people. In 2016, according to NCAC.org, 8 violations of artistic freedom were reported in the U.S. UNESCO.org, which published an annual statistics to cover on censorship, acts of censorship on music and film, acts of censorship on music and film combined for around 755 cases, or around 90% of all cases in 2016. The only case of art censorship in Lafayette was a situation involving Nicole Touché's work. Other cases have not been reported. A study conducted by Globes HK states around that 60% of Americans are concerned about the government censoring their internet. The US ranks 19th along with Australia in the highest amount of internet freedom. According to library.soma.edu, in 1953 through 1969, the Warren Court settled many court cases regarding the First Amendment, which in turn extended the rights to freedom of the press and speech. It also limited the power of states or cities in regards to censorship.
Censorship is an important topic for not just here, but in many other places as well. Whether it be providing your right to speak freely here or wanting to help others be able to do the same elsewhere, it's important. Inform people of the censorship that happens and how people are affected by it. Be involved, exercise your rights, and speak your mind, and not someone else's.
Alright, to conclude, now we know some of the different types of censorship that are out there. We learned some history about art, music, film, and journalism censorship, and how it came to form the way it is today. Hopefully after reading more in depth on some of these, you are able to realize that censorship affects everyone, and we should be able to decide what we want to see or not to see, and not let others decide for us.